I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority. Hi guys, this is Daniel Alexander Cannon here on Logic Before Authority. And today we're going to look at something a lot of people don't probably care about. But I find it fascinating for some reasons that some of you will be able to relate to. Hopefully my audio is working well. Y'all guys let me know if you can't hear me, which I'm guessing you will. I see Super Dave out there on the ball. He's always on the ball. Sure Mike Smith's around somewhere too as well. See Watchwoman. See Garrett Farrell. You guys, appreciate you being here. Today what we're going to talk about is kind of what you see on the screen here, okay? And it's a mountain range down in Mexico. Okay, sounds good. Excellent, Super Dave. It's a mountain range down in Mexico, and literally like sheer cliffs down, going for 1,500 to 2,000 feet, if not more. And this guy flies his drone along this mountain range out in the middle of absolutely nowhere in southern Mexico. And into the side of these mountains, as you can see here, like on the screen, you can see like there's a door right here. And there's other areas, there's up here where it's been bricked, other areas where there were people or some kind of humans or mans or humans that were living in this thing. And it appears like this area of the rock that is white here was a lot softer rock, and they were able to tunnel their way in some spots. And this whole mountainside, you'll see it here in a few minutes, it's just popcorned with these places where someone was staying at some time. And I know we've seen this kind of stuff in different places around the world, but my question is, well, one, what are the conditions that would cause somebody to want to live? If I can get a shot that shows how high this is. Shows how high this is. What are the conditions that would cause someone to need to live in such a harsh situation? What kind of conditions? And then what kind of people could even live and even be able to climb up to? I mean, you're talking about someone would have to be a professional rock climber with all kinds of safety equipment, even be able to reach this location. Okay, here we go. So you can see over to the left how high this is. Okay. And oh, this is going to be really good on this big screen. I wish y'all guys had a really big screen you were watching it on too, because these are steps. Looks like steps, either steps or either it was helping hold this wall in place, one or the other. But we're going to look at this, pretty much this entire video, about 2/3 of it anyways. And ask ourselves some questions, okay? I am just absolutely fascinated with trying to learn the truth about, well, everything. But one of those things is the past, because we haven't been told nothing about the past. Absolutely nothing. What we were taught in school was absolute garbage. There's a saying that the victors write the history books. Yeah, I see, Roxy, maybe escaping a flood, but, and I thought about, that maybe there was water down below or something, but if it's that flooded and you've got to stay up there, I mean, and there's a lot of these places up there, it's like, what were they eating if that was the case? Because I was thinking that kind of too. Um, what were they eating? I mean, there's a lot of questions, and we're going to try to ask those and try to ascertain, if we can, a little bit better understanding of what was going on here. And another big question is when was this? When was this? What century? What, maybe even a bigger question, what cycle? Because for me, I still believe that, second, hang on just a second. Trying to, it ain't wanting to work here. Message and pull it out. I can do that using this new little tinker toy that I've got that I'm adding into the show. And then I can, if I want to, I can make it go away. But let's go ahead and let's look at this video. But I want to give this guy credit. Absolutely full credit. His channel name is Senor Blue. Okay. He's not that big of a YouTuber. I don't know how long he's been around, but he's got 217 videos. That many videos, you would think. I mean, let's look at his video history. Look at the oldest and see how long he's been putting up videos. Okay, 5 years. 5 years he started out doing whatever he was doing. And now he's transitioned to, I would say, something much better. And that is us going out and asking questions about the past. See what his most popular videos are. Well, the one we're watching is actually one of his most popular. He's got another one here that looks like it probably pretty good. Possibly check that out. I don't know if we'll have time today, but I might check that one out too. It's Senor Blue. If you want to check out his channel, feel free to do so. Lots of good, honest, beautiful people that are really putting an effort into seeking the truth, because he's asking the questions that we're kind of asking. Who or what was living there? Was it average sized humans, or were these some kind of, like Sasquatch kind of beings or some other kind of beings? Because it's so old and so long ago, it's hard to say. Now, I do see in this image, like here, and we're going to play the video here in just a moment, but I do see in this image pieces of wood, like here, there, and there, piece there, piece of wood. Now, it's it's in a spot where it's not going to be getting wet, but it, oh, and you can see wood on the window frame over here as well. See that wood? You know, but it is subject to the humidity and spray, probably from rain. And so it's like, well, how old could it be then? But yet it's obviously old. And you got to really, really, really want to escape something to go dig a hole in the side of a mountain that's rock to live in it. You got to really want to escape something. Southern Mexico, again, is where this is at. Senor Blue, that's his YouTube channel name. And I'm going to play, and we're going to have commentary along the way for the, Southern Mexico, Roxy. Yeah, Southern Mexico. Let's see. Let me go ahead and pull up the video here. And so we can take a look at it. And I've got, guys' chat still showing when I pull it up here. So let's, I've got the ability to pause it and so on here. So we'll do that along the way. Let's see. I've got the ability to just go, if I want to make it bigger, let me add that ability real quick. Share screen only. Okay. Now let me add shared screen. And we'll be able to do this. And moment. Apologize, but I hate to say, but we're not here for entertainment. We're seeking something, and that something, we're not even completely sure what it is, but we know it is the truth. Okay. All right. Got that. Make one more little change here, and then we're going to get going. All right. Now, let us India has a lot. I mean, these things are all over the world like this. And for me, I look at time as if it goes in a circle. Okay. And there are periods of time during that circle where there are lands that are not really inhabitable. Okay. Maybe they're all frozen. Maybe it could be a number of things. Okay. But time itself goes in this circle. And we end up running across things like these caves that we're going to look at and other examples around the world that just don't make no sense. I mean, we've got meltology is now a word, meltology, where it looks like there were mountains and buildings melted together in places around the world. It's just, for me, it's kind of mind blowing. And I can't help myself. I keep wanting to dig down this rabbit hole, you might say, and try to at some point find something that answers what's going on here. And I think I kind of have a vision of it in my head, like I said, time in a circle. But you're always seeking more confirmation for yourself, you might say. And so that's a little bit of what we're doing. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the video for today, okay? And here we go. Now, he's starting it from, this is his beginning. We're going to go ahead and go past that. He's talking, explaining, a few details, and then he's got a drone that he's going to fly out yonder. And out there in the distance on the left is that hillside or mountainside. And it would be no small feat to go to where he's going on foot. Okay. Now, let's see here. Let's get to basically where he really starts getting to things. And let's let it play a little bit here. Yeah, I seen your message there, what you were saying about different possibilities, Mr. Uncensored. I think the cult conquered the world a long time ago, and they used such places for a few different reasons. One, as a way to impress the locals and make themselves seem more divine or more capable. Then number two, to have their secret meetings away from others, and maybe to have a place to go when it floods again, because they know about the great flood cycles, but didn't know exactly when they happened. Those are good observations. Have a place prepared that if you needed something, I guess if a big flood came and about wiped everybody out, and it withdrew, you would probably want to prepare in case another flood came. It makes some sense. But some of these places up there, it really looks like people were living there, which we're going to see as I play this forward here. So let's keep playing forward. And I'm making edits in my studio because I want to have the ability to show an individual message, a pinned chat message, if I want to. I'm going to do that. Let me make this a little bigger. It'll be easy to read. Big enough. Be good. I can do it like that. There we go. And you share the text. Oh, you're asking someone else about some. about chat with sorry. I'm working with quite a few monitors and stuff here. All right. So let's make that go away for the moment. Let's play some of this video that I've been promising that I haven't really played yet. Here we go. Let's go on. So imagine in your mind and assume that you're in a lot better condition. And I guess if you were old and kind of feeble, you were just dead. Because you ain't climbing these mountains. Or if you've got any kind of a disability, you're done. Now, this isn't, it's an example of how it looks like they might have been hollowing something out there, but there's a lot better examples, which he's going to show as we move forward. Now, as most of you guys realize and already know, that a lot, maybe not all, but a lot of the mountains that exist, they come from the remnants of previous times, the biological remnants. In many cases with the mountains, it is actually remnants of trees. Now, here we go. We can see an actual window. Okay. And this guy does a pretty good job. He goes up to some of these real close with his drone, and he messes with the lighting sensor on his drone camera, and he can show us what's inside the cave a little bit, which is kind of cool. Now you can see, he'll get closer here. All right, so we can see like a little bit of like remnant leftover stacked rocks and such, but clearly a window that someone wanted to be able to. Now think about the weather. Why would you want a window necessarily? It kind of gives you away when somebody's passing by on the next ridge over and they're the bad guys, right? They look over and they see anything that looks unnatural, like a window, that says somebody's home, right? So why would you have a window? The land in Jamaica looks like a giant tapeworm. There's an area in northern Africa that looks like a giant dragon. And there's actually areas in central United States down in the Midwest that look like smaller dragons. I mean, I think that there were things that have went on right here where we're at over the eons. I would call an eon a cycle, a complete cycle. I would say there have been anything you can imagine, pretty much, has went on. And we're literally walking around on the dust and the remnants of those times. All future ages walk on top of past ages. It's just the way it is. Some of these, he does a really good job of getting in there real close. Like you can see really good there. Okay, you're not, if you're going to have windows or anything that says human habitation, you're not hiding from an enemy, right? Because you wouldn't want anybody to be able to notice that someone's home or might be home. So I don't know if enemy, running from an enemy is what's going on here. So there's the, like Roxy said, possibility of flood. Okay, so what if it was a guard post? Well, that's a reasonable thing, but you still would not build a guard post with a window that looks like where a human's at. If you have enemies hunting you, you could do it in ways that would look more natural, you know? Uh, and that's a pretty big hole. It's hard to judge. We'll try to do some judging on actual size based on some of the foliage that's around when he's moving around a little bit, as to how big these holes are, these doorways, because there's actual doors in here too that are framed in. And yeah, and the locals down here, this guy that he's there, nobody has any clue who did this. All the people in southern Mexico, nobody knows. That to me, it like hints that it's from another time, another eon, another cycle. But then I see the pieces of wood laying around. But then you could also, there is a possibility that there have been more than one people or more than one type of people who have found these and maybe modified them. Maybe tried to shore them up a little bit with modern wood. Maybe, right? So we kind of have to keep that in mind. Yeah, and the Grand Canyon, I mean, you could go on for forever at the Grand Canyon trying to figure out really truly what it is. It's it's a whole video series in itself, because the way the canyons are all formed, in one way it looks like a lightning strike, meaning the shapes and the way electricity flows. There's a term for it. I could look it up, but Roxy might remember it from the other day when we were talking. Look out to see enemies approaching, can signal with light to your people below. Well, the problem is on this one side of this mountain, there's about 50 lookouts, all within a quarter mile of each other. 50. You'll see as we move forward here. Maybe I should actually be doing that some instead of just running my mouth. He may alter the camera. I can't remember if he does it here. No, I guess not on this one. He'll alter the lighting on the camera so you can actually see inside the cave. But he's got a few more impressive ones that he's trying to get to. So look at the foliage and try to determine how big or how small these little habitations are. They don't look massive compared to the foliage. Imagine trying to get up there to go home. And that's just from the foot of the rock, but then the mountain, it goes on down, way down into the valley. Why not build something a little bit easier? Unless you're such a modern civilization that you realize it ain't gonna last. You'd think we'd be there now in our time, but we're not. They may be building things that will last, but we're living in freaking sticks. Okay, let's see what this one is here. Another cave. Not too impressed, apparently, so he's going to move on forward. There's definitely some more impressive ones that he's going to show here in just a few minutes. And again, Senor Blue, I greatly appreciate your work and going out there with your drone. A drone that can do this kind of stuff is thousands of dollars, at a minimum 2,000 or 3,000. And the time and spent to hunt this down. Looks like from his channel, he's going to be doing quite a bit more of this kind of thing. So, might be a good idea to subscribe to him. All right, I'm just stopping it so we can kind of see the overall view. See how steep it is to get up to that. Look how deep it looks. Pretty deep looking. Looks like a type of rock that is more chalkish. As you can see, that you could habitate in there. Wouldn't be comfortable, I don't think. And there's just tons of little like rocks and stuff laying around. He may alter the light on his camera so we can see in there better. He does that a couple times. So see how big the plant is on the left? This is southern Mexico, so I'm assuming that's something kind of like a, what's the name of that plant? It's not aloe vera, but probably in the same family. Something that can exist in extremely dry situations. Yucca plants? Okay. Yucca. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yucca plants. I mean, you can see it's pretty deep in there. A good indication with as many of these as there are on the side of this mountain that there may be an entire system network inside of the mountain. Yeah, there you go. He lightens it up. Yucca, fern. Yeah. And then you go a little ways and look around a little bit. And I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't be excited to go live there and have to climb that mountainside every day. And there are ones that are down lower, like those there that you see lower, and then there's some that are right straight up above them, much higher. He's going to get to some here in just a moment that really look like someone was living there, like when we started out looking at. There's several of those, and there's a bunch of smaller ones that he doesn't even approach. He's looking at this on a small, relatively small screen on his drone, and you can't see everything. All you can see is the bigger features. You know, here's an interesting one, right? You can see the remnants of a door and a wall, and then more architecture above, where this was all closed in with maybe even a roof on it, kind of at some point. But what point? When was this and why was this? Was there wildlife that was so dangerous that you really wanted to get away from it? And wildlife might not look at windows and things like that the same like a human would. Like wildlife might not go, hey, there's a window up there. That must mean there's a human there. Let me go mess with them. Typically, humans do that kind of stuff. Cliff face. Robert McKenzie says the people that lived there had wings. I would say just about anything is possible at this point. With I can only say that based on everything I've seen. But they didn't draw and carve images of beings that had wings, not just in Egyptian carvings, but in South American carvings like Maya and other places around the world. You can find these similar looking kind of beings and carvings of them and drawings of them, hieroglyphs and so on, all over the world. Does that mean that they for sure actually walked the earth? No, it doesn't mean 100%, but it stacks the deck pretty good that there have been things that have walked this world that would blow our minds and make you want to go live in a cave, maybe. Scripture says that men will go and hide in the caves and under the earth to try to escape the things that are coming upon the world in the end days. And I have this sinking feeling that we've got some evil masterminds that are already genetically altering or reanimating creatures and different types of beings from the past. Hey, London man, you're here from London. That's awesome. As you can tell, some of the rocks were mudded together like the walls and stuff. Yeah, mudded together. And I kind of pause and like to look at it and analyze it a little bit. So hopefully I'm not boring everybody to death by doing that. Chupacabra. Yeah, it's like a wolf and a horse mixed together is my understanding of the chupacabra. There you go. You can see inside the cave there pretty well. And I'm sure that the woods people would have been down there as well and still are down there. And in the Vatican, it shows the woods people, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to name you want to pick and laugh at it. The Vatican shows on that big mural that's in the Vatican, that's in that one room. The mural takes up the whole room. I think it was Michelangelo that supposedly did it or whatever. Doesn't matter to me. But they show in a cave, kind of looks like that a little bit, below the cross, where it shows, Christ supposedly. It shows a cave, and there are giant hairy men in the cave down and below. And why did they add that? Because those creatures and many other kinds of creatures have existed in this world. Man cannot seem to resist altering the flesh, altering the world. That is fascinating. You can see, even now, without him adjusting it, you can see way back into the cave. I wish y'all guys could see it on the big screen like I'm looking at it on. Hopefully, if you have a large screen television, like a smart TV or something like that in your house, you can watch YouTube on there, or you can cast whatever you're doing on your phone to your television. If you're not familiar with that, check it out, because videos like this, you would want it. Big time. It even looks like there's a pillar back in there. In the center of the cave there. Looks like a pillar. Giant lizards. Well, and down in this part of Mexico, there's legends of the feathered serpent. Yeah, it don't look like these holes and windows are massive. If you look on the left-hand side of the screen, you can see some foliage there, and there are actually some cacti growing there. Since I've got it on my large screen, I can see there's about 5 or 6 round globe-like cacti that are there. And so when I compare that to what I'm looking at here, it looks to me like it's, average human size, to my best guess. Wow, he's flying that drone right on up there. Probably got obstacle avoidance on it, so it's pretty safe. Look at that. Now, I'm guessing that modern man would not be able to resist climbing up in here and do what man does, which is destroy everything. Man overall, as a group, destroys everything, unfortunately. This looks like, I'm looking at the rock, looks like granite, marble, and mixed in with something that looks softer or something easier to work with and chipping it out. It even looks like you can see where they've, on the right hand side of the screen, those little bubbly looking areas where they were cutting back areas. You can almost see scoop marks in the rock. And you can tell that cave goes way back in there. Let's see if he alters the light on this one. Wow. Man, you're going to put us in the hole. It almost looks like a table or a bed on the left. And you can't see the back of the cave. Maybe he'll change the lighting here. Looks like some kind of, I don't know if that's a wood pillar or something there in the middle. A lot of the rock that's laying on the ground looks like rock that would be pretty easy to bust up. Oh man, alter the light so we can see. There you go. See, it goes back in yonder, around to the right, and possibly even to the left. God did a really good job. Where would they sit? Where would they sleep? I'm assuming, that's a civilization capable of doing this would also be able to weave hammocks, some kind of bedding stuff. They obviously know how to lay bricks. They obviously knew how to make some kind of a mortar. No burn marks, charcoal. Yeah, it is weird how all the rocks are loose, just laying around. That makes me wonder. It's like, has later people climbed up into here and messed around. Now I'm looking at the soil right down at the bottom, and I don't see any feet print or signs that anybody has been there in a long time, very long time. I mean, my brain, I can't help it. It just wants to stare at the different elements that we're looking at and question all of it. I mean, that pillar in the center there, that's kind of a yellowish color almost. It looks like it's a combination of all kind of materials. Bet you there's some gold in that heel. Highly likely. And that's back in there on top of all of this down here. And another opening with two pieces of wood. And it's like, how old could this be if this wood is there? But obviously it's been there a very long time and nobody knows anything about it. What is this stuff on the left? It looks like it's poured out of a bucket. See these like steps on the left-hand side are not steps, but different levels going up. And there's stuff running down the side of the rocks. And you can kind of see drips of it and residue of it in the upper right and in other places. Was that some kind of maybe a mortar type material? But boy, they sure were messy. Yeah, it looks like, like melted wax. Yeah, it looks like melted wax, but if you were using the wax for, let's just say they were burning candles or something like that, you would recollect that wax. It pouring down the side like that. I mean, unless you had a wax factory down at the bottom of the hill. I don't think they had that probably. Now I'm looking at this right here and see that window and see the board on the left-hand side of the window. Almost to the top of that board, it looks like there is a piece of metal. Like some kind of a connecting, like a hinge. But it couldn't have been a hinge because the window is not square. It ain't even round. It's just hodgepodge. It's hard to say, you know. You can see that wax looking stuff is dripped everywhere. Then he alters the light for a second so you can see inside that cave. It looks like a flat wall back in there. Like this whole front wall is manufactured. You see? Like the actual mountain wall is recessed back in there. And this whole front is a built wall. Yeah, that's obviously what it is, right? Yep. So all that was built up. All of this you see was built up. All of this was all built. All of this down here towards the bottom was all built and stacked and put some kind of mortar in here. and then pour out some wax on top like you were having some kind of satanic ritual or something other. And then over here to the left, it literally looks like wax on the ground. They said they probably went in from the top. Maybe. Yeah, it's very possible they came in. I mean, this mountain looks like it could be Swiss cheese. Here's the good view of that inside area there. It was like this wall came on across at some point and kind of covered up that area, and it was like a false wall. And look how high we are to the bottom of the valley. I can tell you from experience, back when I was in really good shape, I did some hunting up in the mountains of Idaho, hunting elk. And you cannot just strike out and walk up the side of that right there, coming up out that valley. That incline will bust the lungs out of your chest unless you're really, really, really adapted to it. And then you got to come up here and climb the mountain to get into your little cave. What's that at the bottom right there in the center? At the bottom looks like a little window almost, but it ain't a window. Was that a ring cam? Just kidding, of course. But it's cut out like a little, I don't know. So many questions. Why? And when? All of that right there was built, added onto the face of the mountain. Like right there, you can look at that stuff that's pouring down the side. And yeah, it looks like wax a lot, but it also looks like some kind of a really milky kind of concrete. But yet it's only on the top and not mixed in the rocks down below, in the seams and everything. Robert says it's a picture of Jesus. I think you might be reading that out of context, but anyways. All right, let's keep going here. Look at those rocks down to the lower left. Really weird looking. And looks like if you would have come up there and tried to enter in, I mean, it's like a ramp or something with a bunch of wax on it. Another little window in the upper left. Then you got a doorway down below. I mean, I don't know what this looked like when it was finished and actually was habitable. There was a lot of work went on there. A lot of work. On the side of a mountain, mind you. On a cliff on the side of a mountain. This is where you're going to carry all your mortar and all your rocks and anything else you might need, wood, carry it up here and make this out of it. Obviously, they had plenty of rocks to work with. You could break them down into the sizes they need, which is what they did. Almost looks like it's like a little bit of a roofing system there. It's got some garbage that's fallen on top of it, but I can see like timbers right in the center of the screen that are running from that front wall back into what looks like somewhat of a wall behind. And then there's dirt and material on top of those timbers. And they're still holding the weight. How? This just don't make sense. And if you look over to the right, look at the doorway. To the lower right, where that door, what looks like a doorway going in. What is that on the surface of the right side of the door? It looks like some kind of a finishing material was on there, like not paint, but something like that. Mr. Uncensored says, I think it was built during the last greenhouse period when there were no land glaciers anywhere in the world. No land glaciers. Why would that play into it? I'm not quite sure. Back when Antarctica wasn't covered in a mile of ice. Yeah, there were definitely periods when, when you really start looking at the Mercator map of the North Pole and the shape, the obvious looks like tree stump shape of that land up there that they've never told us about. That tree, the boughs of that tree, the limbs of that tree would have reached even to here. Absolutely massive tree. And so it would have been like Avatar, the movie, but even more massive. And Bible even talks about it. It talks about the trees being so massive that cities and communities and every land and the animals were all under the shade of the boughs of the trees. Just imagine how high the sea level would be if the over a mile of ice of Antarctica melted. Depends on how far the ice goes. And I have a theory that you see everything in this world follows a wave pattern. Okay? Like sound, a frequency. Just like how we've got an Arctic and then we've got a tropics. So it goes from being super cold to super warm, just perfect conditions for life. And then you continue on south, then it goes downhill again, right? And you end up with ice again. Well, there would have to be another point where there is another wave in that frequency. And you would think, anyways. So there's no telling how much actual ice is there. I'm sure it's a massive amount, of course. That's a much larger tunnel system than we think. If you're referring to this system in this mountain, yeah, it's definitely very large. And that is definitely a trusses on rafters on top of that right there. Wood rafters. How could wood rafters that's wood, that's not petrified, it's exposed, see them? Wow. Why are they even still not dust? I mean, were there people living here 100 years ago? I don't think so. I mean, look where you're at. Look where you got to climb to get to it. Little cacti in there. And you can see this is like the size for, you might say, normal humans. I'm just staring. Was it the Hopi Indians that had stories about ant people saving them from a giant catastrophe? Yeah, that was the Hopi Indian story. One of them, anyways. Yeah. An ancient apartment building. It would be apparently, basically is, because there's a bunch of these caves there, a lot of which he doesn't even go up close to. See those rafters on the right? Look, right above the door, the opening there, there are wood rafters holding all this rock and soil up here on top. It's wood. There's wood above the door. How is that wood holding up all that weight? What was done to that wood? Is this magic wood? Because in 100 years, that wood should have fallen. Now, obviously, quite a bit of it has fallen, but how is that still standing? I get it that the rocks are still standing, but those rafters, I wish I could point to it, but I can't. It's in southern Mexico. I can't recall the exact name. I'll show that again before we are done here. Those are rafters, wood rafters, holding up all that dirt, rock, and stuff on the right side. On the left, it has caved in. What kind of wood can last over 100 years, bearing weight, exposed to the elements? Roxy Files says Sierra Oaxaca, Mexico. That is the location. I remember that's right. Thank you, Roxy. Even when Roxy's not on the show, she's on the ball. What am I going to do with that girl? So awesome. Look at that wood. What kind of wood does not rot like? I mean, obviously some of it did because it's caved in right there. But on the right, those rafters are still holding. And they look like they're holding about 6 inches to a foot of soil and dirt and rocks. Somebody said wood looks charred. Yeah. Somebody said Oaxaca. Oaxaca? Is that a type of wood? Daryl? Hey, Mike Smith. What's up, brother? Yeah, the wood looks charred. Let's keep going. This dude did an awesome job. Almost like surgical. Really deserves a follow, I would say. I subscribed. See, there's another hole back in there. And that hole obviously goes around and connects with the main structure. Now, how much of what we're looking at on that face is actual rock, petrified wood, versus man added? Obviously, right below the window is man added. The rest of it, a little bit of it looks like some kind of material's been added, but not so much. Oh, Oaxaca. Okay, I got you. Thank you, Daryl. Now he's lighting it so you can see inside that little cave. And it looks like flat surface in there. Like the walls are fairly flat. Definitely living space. But how much living space do you need if you're just hiding out from the boogeyman or whatever caused you to go live in the mountains? Look at that. And it looks like where they penetrated the mountain are these areas where the rock is that wider yellowish kind of color. It looks like that's where they chose to penetrate. And then they took that same material, ground it down, and turned it into the cement because it's the same color. The rocks that they're building their walls with and the concrete material that they're using for like their mud is the same color as that part of the mountain. Hey Kay, what's happening? Glad you come to hang out with us for a little bit. So here's some more building that doesn't make any sense, really. Just got a couple of, well, more than a couple. This whole, I can see it on my big screen. This whole area is man-made wall. It runs from over here where you can see this light looking area on the left. And I can see on my large big screen, I can see block all the way across behind here in the center, behind the center part. And then all the way across the entire screen is man-made wall with some little areas of fill-in down here on the lower left where you see the yucca plants. There's little areas that are filled in that too as well that you can kind of see there. I can see it really well. And then there's an area up there above it. And I would have to suspect, matter of fact, I can see, looks like a couple of timbers sticking out the top. So there's like an existing cave area in there, a built-in enclosed cave area behind all of this. The walls are still standing. The roofs apparently have not collapsed, so those timbers are still holding. Wow. From when? And some of this looks like the building is, you'd think the building would be built into the rock, but it almost looks like the rock is built into the building. Like along the bottom of that structure part there. Instead of the building being built into the rock looks like it's built into the building. What in is going on here? You got little cactus growing everywhere. You got yucca, so you got things you could eat and get water from. There's cactus on the left, like your flat type cactus on the left. There's some large yellow flowers on the left. And there's the small globe shaped cactuses on the right and all around. And there's more of it over yonder. So why have those rocks, that wall built down there, unless you got something behind there? And that right there, see this rock right here in the screen in the center? That looks like wood. And of course, it's petrified wood that the mountain is. This is a fallen, gigantic tree from the old times, coming out back out of the garden a couple of cycles after the exit out of the garden. This guy had to have done the best possible job you could imagine flying this drone and getting this high quality footage. He actually filmed it in 4K. I think you can watch it at least up to 2K on YouTube if you've got a big monitor and you want to watch it. Zapotec were forced out of their land by the Mixtecs and the Aztecs. I think it appears man doesn't know how to not be happy with what he's got. There's always somebody that's going to convince you that we need to take something from somebody else. Please, I'm not flying up close. Amazing the flowers and the things that are there. Really, really cool looking. Of course, that's a roof. And on top of that, with all that stuff growing on it, that is a roof with timbers that's still holding the roof up. Likely. We've seen the timbers earlier. That's what they were building, how they were building. That's the roof of something under there. This dude knows how to fly a drone. You got a window on the right, far right. You got one in the center. You got one to the lower middle center, and then possibly one even on the further left there, just in this image. So obviously, there are rings in this petrified wood that are soft. Type of wood that has rings in between the rings is very soft, and you can hollow it out or cave it out, you might say, pretty easy. He's probably going to show us what's back in that hole. And he is. How'd you like to hang out there and have you a mixed drink or something other? Fall off. Oh Lord. But they got the yucca, so you could make some drinks. That wouldn't be a good place to drink and climb, that's for sure. Or even drink and live. The Tiffery, this video I'll be showing exactly, and I did at the beginning of the live stream, exactly where it's from. Roxy, if you happen to have that link still, you can drop it. If I go away from this, it's going to lose my spot on playing this video, so I can't switch scenes, but I will be showing it again here in just a few minutes. Check that out. Wow. I hope you're looking at this on a big screen. You can see back in there looks like it's been, this almost looks like a structure on top of a structure, or a structure with inside of us. Something is just, if you could see this on a big screen, you would be able to see. Maybe he lightens it up again. I hope so. But it looks like there's giant blocks back in there. There we go. Look. Like right there, dead center, is this huge looking block. And there's one on the right. And kind of one on the left too. And then it looks like a bunch of pieces of wood laying around, but it's not wood, it's petrified wood, of course, which is what we call rock. Highlighted it even more. You can see way back in there up on top. You know, it went back in quite a ways, and maybe there's been some big earthquakes and you've had a little bit of stuff falling. Maybe. Yeah, it is amazing footage, isn't it? Yeah. What made these people build in such terrible locations to get to? Look at the cave down on the bottom left. Another entrance. I mean, you would think you were concerned. Almost looks like a face looking out of that hole on the right hand side. It looks kind of weird, but you would think if you were just trying to hide, you wouldn't have so many entry points. If you knew that you could weave your way around inside of this place and hollow it out. I mean, you need ventilation. There's reasons why you would, but why would you if you were trying to hide, I might say? Yeah, calling Roxy is fine because, well, that's her name. It's actually a nickname, but there's good reasoning behind it. I know more of the story, of course. That hole ain't no bigger than the yucca plant to the right of it. That's a small hole, like a window. So then there's a room behind there. Obviously, right? This mountain is a house or a castle or something. At the same time, it looks like wood. I mean, look at the wood. It looks like old wood that's dried up and it's petrified. And in order for that to happen, it has to be covered by water. Petrification works the best when it is covered by water. So there was a point, I think it was Roxy mentioned a flood earlier. There definitely was a flood because this is petrified wood. Another little opening. That one's kind of all charred looking inside. We'd wonder if they would choose how they were going to heat themselves. Of course, being inside of a petrified tree rock kind of place like this, the temperature would probably maintain itself pretty good, not go to extremes. Then if you wanted to have a fire, how would you do that? is that? That must be a plant. Going on the left. Some of that looks like it's been plastered with that wax looking stuff again. See, in the very center at the bottom of the hole is pouring down, and you can see some inside of the hole as well, along with what looks like charred wood. And 2 more houses down there. At least 2 more. All over everywhere. Massive one up yonder. That's that big, massive one that we were looking at earlier. It's like it really is hard to wrap your mind around. All those really yellow looking spots, that's all where they use that same kind of rock, that lighter colored rock, to make cement and build housing areas. This was like a village, the whole thing. That most of that is like a false ceiling, that most of it hasn't caved in because the timbers are still holding from whatever magical time it was that wood lasted longer than 100 years exposed to the weather. What kind of wood is this? Yeah, a LiDAR scan. Yeah. Mining gold. Well, normally people that mine gold, they have signs of that, like where the tailings piles at. They just chunk them off the side of the mountain, let them roll down. Oh, I hit Junior in the head a while ago. Knocking one of the rocks down. I don't know. I mean, were these people even aware of that? You just don't know. Look how massive that is. That's just one area in this mountainside, and I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 areas that are that lighter color that say that everything right around that's all man-made, and it has a roof that has timbers in it that are still holding from how many ever hundreds of years ago, or maybe even longer. We don't know what kind of wood that is. And he's just focusing looking at this area, but the whole mountain has got this stuff in it. You can see those lighter colors all the way up yonder at the top. I mean, it's already hard enough to do this. Why not go to the top too? Or maybe they did. Maybe there are entrances or exits or whatever you want to call them up at the top. Here's some more down there in the center of the screen to the right, just a little bit. More cave entrance. Goes all the way up that crack. That stuff almost looks like it looks like that wax stuff even still. I guess maybe if they ground it down to such a powder, maybe that's where they were coming from. See all the entrances there, little windows on the right, just off the center of the right, off the center of the center to the right, just. Yeah, this dude's got a bunch of cool videos, I think. in his recent time, he's been going to some really cool places that more of us. Look at that wax again, right there. What looks like wax. I'm not saying it's wax. Roxy's already looking at other videos while she's on here with us live. She's already watching other videos on this dude's channel. It says that paintings on the walls with UFO drawings in the, whatever that name of that city is, in southern Mexico, at 750. So cave entrances to the mountains. Yeah. Wow. Very cool. Yeah. Thank you for sharing his link to his channel, Roxy. Yeah, I would suspect, Scott, that it is the lighter areas, just like with quartz, the lighter areas are going to be your sap. And that's where the gold's at also, in trees that bared gold back in the days. The quartz, which are the lighter areas, is the sap of the trees, of the petrified tree, and it bears the gold. Roxy says she's already three videos ahead of us. Are you watching 3 other videos at the same time on here live watching this and commenting the whole time? You out of control. There you go. You can see back in there. The whole cave system going on here. The whole mountain of Swiss cheese. You could see little entrances on the left side there too. You can see there's depth in there. Depth-wise and depth going down. Almost looks like a painting on the wall back there. Or a sculpture of some kind. It looks pretty freaky looking. Looks like it got tusks. Right in the center of the opening, with the bright slightly. Looks like almost like a man's face, but he's got tusks. Wish I could see that closer. Already seeing it on a 50-inch screen. 50-inch 4K screen even. Okay. Well, that is the majority of his of this video. You can go and watch. Oops. You can go and watch. This video is on his channel. It's called "Did Giants Build These Gates High on This Mountain?" This. Oh, wait a minute. Is that it? This one here. Yeah, did giants build these gates high on this mountain? And the link to his channel, well, I'll give it to this video specifically. Actually, I can't do that from here. Okay. All you got to do is look him up. Okay. I found him. It's Senor Blue. Okay. SENOR Blue. And if you need to, you can add the name channel behind it, or you can search also at Senior, meaning SR Blue MX. This right here. You can search that at SRBLUEMX. And tell him the Supernatural Show sent you. And I'm gonna subscribe. I think he's getting a really good encouragement, because this is the most popular, one of 2 of his most popular videos he's ever made, and this one was only put out 2 weeks ago. So he's going to get highly encouraged to go back and do some more filming, okay? And I hope y'all guys liked this style, okay? When you do what I do, you can get, if you start, I mean, you have to think about what you're doing and how to improve it and all this. But sometimes they've got the analytics and everything. The whole thing is so geared against us that it can make you think you're doing something wrong, and you start questioning yourself. But I mean, I can't help. I have to just do what I'm led to do. Things that interest me. Because, like I say, my work is not for entertainment purposes. And so I hope y'all guys enjoyed this today. So I'll do something like this again. We'll do another video review and talk about it. Yeah. So if you happen to be new here, there might be a few of you. Subscribe. We like to talk about a whole lot of truth on a whole lot of subjects. Some of it's pretty controversial, but we go pretty far, pretty deep, and I can't help it. That's where I'm going to keep going, All right. Well, guys, I love you. I'm going to get on out of here. Hope you enjoyed it today. And thank you to all of y'all guys that were here, especially Roxy, Super Dave, Mike Smith, and, of course, Diana. She's in the house on a regular basis as well, along with a bunch of you other guys. Good to see you here, Scott. And everybody else that had a chance to stop through today. Good to see you, Kate. Wim 62, I think it is. Something like that. And yeah, so with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. I love you. Father in heaven loves you. Keep seeking the truth. I'll see you for sure on Friday, if not sooner.
I've got one that can see.
Logic before authority.